Well, on this fifth day of March, today is the day it all gets started. When it really gets started, because we put numbers and crunch numbers, put numbers to paper and hand them out. The budget drop for the executive branch first for Governor Gretchen Whitmer, and anxiously awaiting all of this will, of course, be the Michigan legislature. And there's already been back and forth between this legislature and the governor, but overall, some fairly good feelings. Will that end today when they see the numbers and get a chance to react and begin the back and forth process in earnest? State Senator Peter Lucido from Shelby Township, Macomb County, is on the other end of my line once again. Morning, sir.
Good morning, Dave, and good morning to all the listeners.
It is a big deal when you get the budget. Now, you've been through this drill in the House with a member of your own party, but you haven't had to walk this walk yet with someone of the other party, the Democrats here. So you're anxious to see what they've got to put forward too, aren't you?
I'm not only anxious, but I'm also trying to visualize the conception of her mantra when she walked around the state to get the votes, which was funding K through 12 education, fixing the damn roads. She talked about getting rid of the pension tax for the pensioners that are out there. She talked about also getting clean water initiatives. Those are all great things, and she revisited most of that when she was up on the podium up there on the rostrum for the State of the State.
Well, it's interesting.
Unfortunately,
you talked about the pension tax there, but you know, even in her own party, you've had people who were hammering on that with Rick Snyder, who now have said, well, wait a minute, let's not be so hasty. This is revenue that we can ill afford to lose. So she's going to have pressure on her, not just from Republicans, but from Democrats on that too.
She has to, and the reason why is this was part of her overall enticement. That's the word I want to use. It's a fair word to get the voters to vote for her. And in Southeast Michigan, and that's what I want to focus on, she got an overwhelming amount of votes from Wayne, Oakland, Macomb, where I'm from, as well as Genesee and Kent. My opinion is she must deliver that road package to them. Otherwise, it's a big failure, and she could lose her second-term election.
Well, you've talked before with us at length about the roads and ideas that you have for it based on registration fees being held in county, which would be a boon to counties that usually put out more money than they get to take back, like yours in Macomb. And I know you've talked with her about that, but what do you expect to see in this plan? Because what we've heard is it's going to be perhaps heavy on gas tax versus sales tax, losing the latter, upping the former, and not as much on the registration fees. What do you know?
Most of the listeners should realize that there's a gas tax, and that gas tax, that sales tax, if you will, goes to the schools. So I think she's going to shift the schools, not hurt them, just a minute, shift that up into the fuel tax, which will be the highest tax. We're already there. We're the highest tax in the country for fuel. As a result, this is going to go even higher if you shift. Now, she has to backfill the schools, which is about $1 billion. She has to come somewhere for $1 billion if she wants to make a road plan work. When I talked to her, I said, these fuel taxes are very scary because we've got hybrid vehicles, fuel-efficient vehicles, natural gas cars coming, electric cars coming. We have battery-operated. Let's face it, that's going to diminish over time. So if your long game is to keep these roads viable, it's got to be where the registration is. It's 100% where the registration is. And when we register vehicles, and that means trucks, motorcycles, cars, in the area where they are driving on, where they penetrate the road the worst and cause the worst roads, that's Southeast Michigan. We have almost 5 million. I'll say it again, 5 million registrations right here in Southeast Michigan between 5 counties. If you look at the rest,
and that's something it won't change with the changeover to electrics, because if you use the roads, however you're powering your car, if you use the roads, you're going to have to pay registration. That's the way it works in Michigan.
Exactly, Dave. And my other point is this: every time I see a pothole that she's showing, that the news is reporting, you don't see it from the up north, Upper Peninsula area. You see it from the Tri-County area, Wayne, Oakland, Macomb. Those are where we have the most vehicular traffic because the studies from the insurance industry says people buy their homes within 20 to 25 miles of where they work. That tells me something. That's where the roads are, the rubber's hitting the road the most, on not only vehicular traffic, but also truck traffic, which she never really answered. Does she want to change the weights on trucks on the last segment she just did? These are things I want to know where she's going to backfill from. She can't take it out on the truckers. She shouldn't, at least. But also, at the end of the day, where is she going to backfill her funds to get $1 billion from? I'm anxiously awaiting this.
And you don't have an answer there. I mean, they've played their cards pretty close to the vest, haven't they?
Not only close to the vest, it makes no sense to roll something out that the people are going to be what's called outraged. Outraged. Even Democrats in her own party may be outraged at the fact that, look, wait a minute, this hasn't rolled in all the money. All the money hasn't been rolled in yet. Did we use $5 billion last year between the general fund, which was over $300 million allocated for the roads, gas tax, fuel tax, registration fees, everything all in was $5 billion. I asked the director of MDOT, Paul Edgeba, Paul, you said Ohio uses about $260 to $270 per person. Michigan's using about $130 less. Paul, if you add up the $5 billion, we use $500 a person. $500 a person. Where are your numbers making sense? So I want to see Blackboard. Where's all this money going? Where is all this cash going to fix these damn roads?
If you want to see the connection thing on the board, I won't do that. But since Glenn Beck follows me, Glenn's really good at that. So we'll get Glenn Beck to do that. He's really big with the whiteboard and the chalkboard at that. I'm not. I was told there'd be no math involved, Senator, so I'm going to back away. I will say this, though. We have potholes here, too. Look, I just picked up my youngest daughter's car, and Dad's out $415 due to a pothole. And I thought I got off easy, because I know what this can do to some folks. But we had just had the suspension alignment done, and then boom, I'm out $415 for more. It happens here in Michigan. I want to ask you about this. Now, everybody knows our economy, our e-economy is based on quick delivery, Amazon. It's fast. It's Amazon Prime. There's even the USPS delivering on Sunday. There's people dropping packages in my neighborhood all the time, and I worry about that. Not so much at my house. I've got surveillance cameras, so if you want to come over, come on over. But I worry about that with others here, that they leave stuff out, and you get these people who poach packages. It's not a small problem, is it?
No, not at all. In fact, recently, Senator Runstead and myself put together the two-bill package that said this. Our United States Attorney, that's the one in the federal system, has exclusive jurisdiction over those packages because it comes from the mail. The U.S. mail is the United States Postal Service, and there is no state jurisdiction. So come out with some new law, and as a result, the new law is passed the Senate already unanimously that says if somebody poaches a package, comes off the porch, or better yet, in your mailbox. So last year, Amazon had about 5,000 reports, over 5,000 reports, that were documented that said my package was stolen. There was mail, like that have your checks in it, your credit cards in it. Those were stolen out of the mailbox. At the end of the day, all this fraud is costing the consumer more and more money, and with more and more packages that are being shipped out in less bricks and mortar stores, because let's face it, people do things at ease and convenience and speed. We needed to have some tools in the toolbox that the prosecutors can bring the charges, prosecute these individuals, get restitution back. More importantly, to start to deter that which has been a big, big activity of criminal activity, which is stealing from others.
So the state going after you here as well as it can be on the federal end, but the state will have a lever here, right?
Yeah, and I told that most of the people in committee that the state doesn't have this tool yet, but the feds won't prosecute it because they said this is small potato, and it is in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, going after the big guys is what we're trying to do. The fraud that's going on at a very large $1 million rate, these are small ones.
What's funny about it is that, we're so 2019 high tech, but the way stuff gets left, it gets tossed on the porch. It doesn't fit. It's laying next to a stair. It's like we're 100 years behind on that delivery method and how it's going. It's quick, but it's not the most secure. And putting something there to put thieves off would probably be a pretty good idea. State Senator Peter Lucido, Shelby Township, waiting on the governor's budget drop here and talking about package poaching. Who wants that? Nobody. Always great to have you on. People can follow you on Facebook and Twitter. Always great to have you on.
Dave, thanks for seeing me this morning on the radio. I hope to see you firsthand at the station, so take care.
All right, sounds good.